Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Elizabeth, and on this channel I typically make cooking and mom-related videos. If you like those kind of videos, make sure you subscribe to see more and give this video a thumbs up. Today I'm exactly 17 weeks pregnant, so I wanted to give an update about how that's been going. Right now, depending on which app I look at, my baby is either about the size of a pomegranate or a white onion. This past week I had my 16-week prenatal appointment. I've been going to a practice that's a mixture of midwives and OBs. I, as much as I can, try to see the midwives. They only come in on one day a week, so a few times I've seen the OBs. In my first pregnancy, I would find one midwife that I like, and I would schedule more appointments with her, and then she ended up transferring to another office. So I found another one that I liked, and then I started to see her in this pregnancy, and then she transferred to that same office actually. But I found another one at the office close to me that I like, so I'm going to stick with her for now. At this point, the prenatal appointments are mostly just checking the baby's heart rate and answering any questions that I would have. So this week's was pretty simple. Heart rate was great. It was 150, and midwife found it right away. It's always fun to hear the baby's heart rate on the Doppler. At my practice, they like to do the anatomy scan at 18 weeks, so I'll actually have another appointment in less than 2 weeks now for the anatomy scan. We actually already found out the gender because we did genetic testing around week 11. We weren't necessarily planning on doing it, but we've hit our deductible for insurance this year, so it turns out we didn't have to pay anything for the genetic testing, so I decided might as well go ahead and do that. Luckily, all of the genetic disorders came up negative. Now, there is a small chance that the gender could be wrong, so we are actually waiting to announce to everyone until we have the anatomy scan. And obviously there's a chance that that could be wrong also, but the chances of them both being wrong are very, very low. So we're going to announce after our anatomy scan in a couple weeks. Apparently they scheduled the anatomy scan at not my 16-week appointment, but my appointment before that, my 12-week appointment, but I do not remember anyone telling me that they scheduled it because I would have asked to schedule it on the same time that I could see the midwife that I like. So at my 16-week appointment, my midwife told me that my anatomy scan was scheduled for 2 weeks, and I was really confused because nobody ever told me that that appointment was actually scheduled. So I couldn't remember if they told me and I just had pregnancy brain and it went right over my head, but I don't think anyone told me. But they actually scheduled it with an OB, and there's no midwives available that week when I asked if I would be able to schedule it with one of them, but I was assured that this OB is great and it'll just be for one appointment, so I'm not too worried about it. But I'm excited for the anatomy scan and hoping that everything turns out good and healthy. As far as my symptoms this week, luckily I haven't really had any negative symptoms. My nausea is pretty much completely gone. Every once in a while I'll just have maybe like 10 or 15 minutes where I get a little bit nauseous. I did get a little bit car sick the other day, which I don't normally get, but for the most part that's gone. One exciting symptom I've been having is I've been starting to feel lots and lots of baby kicks. It's every day now, especially after I eat dinner. I get lots of little baby kicks. I've actually been able to feel some from the outside too. I actually felt the very first baby kicks around 13 and a half weeks, and then I would feel them maybe every few days. But just starting at about 15 weeks is when I've been able to say, okay, this is definitely a baby kick, and I can feel it consistently. With my first pregnancy, I'm pretty sure I felt a kick around 13 weeks, but I wasn't positive. And then I definitely 100% felt one at 15, but I didn't consistently start feeling them until about 17, 18 weeks. So so this time around, I probably just know what I'm looking for a little bit more, but I'm definitely feeling lots of baby kicks. For me, my second trimester usually feels pretty normal. Definitely getting a little bit bigger of a bump. I have a lot more energy than I did in my first trimester, but still not quite my normal energy. So sometimes I'll be walking with my husband and I have to tell him to slow down because I can't walk quite as fast as I normally can, especially if I'm holding the toddler too. For me, my second trimester is definitely the best, and that's what a lot of people experience. A lot of people say they don't even feel super pregnant in their second trimester. But then with my first pregnancy, once their trimester hit, it was a lot harder. Just moving around in general, it will most likely become a lot more difficult, but we'll deal with that when it comes. I wanted to talk for a minute about maternity clothes because a lot of you are probably thinking about that right now as your bumps are getting a little bit bigger. For me, for pants, I have a couple pairs of like maternity leggings and one pair of maternity jeans, but honestly, I hardly ever wear them. I just buy regular leggings. I have most of my pairs from Aerie and a few from Target. And I like the ones that have pockets, and the ones from Aerie, they've held up really well. I've had them since my first pregnancy, so a few years now, and they are barely even wearing out. I get the ones that are full length so I can wear them in the winter, and then if I wear them in the summer, a lot of times I can just roll them up if it's too hot, and that works perfectly fine. And I usually wear them just over my bump, and they're high-waisted, so that works out perfectly fine. And of course, since they're stretchy, they'll stretch throughout most of the pregnancy. Then when my bump gets really big, I can fold them over and wear them below my bump if I need to. As far as shirts, I do like to buy maternity shirts. I like the ones that have like the ruching on the side. I had a lot of maternity shirts already from my first pregnancy. I got some from Motherhood Maternity, some from Old Navy and Gap, a few from Kohl's, and maybe one or two from Target. But I buy most of it online just because it's very hard to actually go to a store and find maternity clothes. Usually they have a pretty limited stock. So I kind of know my size online. Luckily I'm usually the same size online as I am in the store, so I can just buy that. And I always read the reviews, and if somebody says that a shirt runs big or small, then I change my size, one size accordingly, and that has always worked out for me. I had lots of shirts from my first pregnancy, but I didn't have a whole lot of short-sleeved shirts since I wasn't showing as much in the summer at that time. So I bought a few short-sleeve shirts just to have for the summer, and then I'll have plenty of sweater-type maternity shirts as we get into fall and winter. I bought a maternity coat with my first pregnancy. I actually found it, I think, on Old Navy for a Black Friday sale. It was half off. So if you can wait until Black Friday, you're looking for a maternity coat, I would recommend looking for Black Friday sales. You might be able to find something really good. I looked used too, but it seemed like there wasn't a big markdown when they were used. So I think I got a pretty good deal buying it half off for Black Friday. Now I was due in March, my first pregnancy, so I definitely needed a winter coat. And I'm very much glad that I bought one. I used it a lot in the winter. This time I'm due in February, so I will get plenty of use out of that again. And I bought one maternity hoodie. I think I bought that at Kohl's, and I was able to wear my regular hoodies a lot since I didn't have a real big belly until winter. But I did use the maternity hoodie some in the fall, and then a little bit, and then a couple times in March when we had some warmer weather in March. But I was mostly wearing my coat then. So I would say try and find a couple different styles of maternity clothes before you invest in a bunch. So like, for instance, don't buy 5 pairs of maternity leggings unless you have either borrowed one, or maybe just buy one pair and make sure that's something that you like before you stock up on it. Because like I said, for me, just my regular leggings that I wear when I'm not pregnant have been perfectly fine. I actually think they're really comfortable when I'm pregnant. As far as just around the house, I found some of my husband's old t-shirts that were bigger than what I normally wear, so they're fine for when I'm pregnant. So I typically just wear those around the house, and they're plenty comfortable. I actually have a couple really big t-shirts that I won in contests that I will wear when I'm super pregnant. Those were super comfy the first pregnancy, but they're gigantic. I also have one pair of maternity sweatpants that I got on clearance from Motherhood Maternity that are really comfortable. They have a wide band, but I actually usually just wear them below my bump. But they're comfy just for sleeping and lounging around the house. And then the rest of you don't really need to buy maternity sweatpants for the most part. I only bought them because they were on clearance for like $11. But otherwise, just regular sweatpants are, if that's what you're into for loungewear, those are perfectly fine. But otherwise, just regular sweatpants or joggers, whatever you're into that's comfy, should be perfectly fine. Well, that about sums up my pregnancy update for week 17, and here's my bump shot. I feel like it's getting a little bit bigger, maybe not a lot, but definitely starting to look pregnant. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.